What is up, everybody? It's Animac here for AnimeUproar, and this is a complicated time if you're an MHA fan. On the one hand, the story is evolving in new and exciting ways, but on the other hand, the MHA that we knew when the series first began is pretty much dead. The Hero Society has all but collapsed, a new Age of Chaos has replaced the previous Age of Peace, and it seems like the Boku no Hero manga is only going to get darker from here. Personally, I think that's a good thing. The story is maturing, and so are all the characters that we love. But at the same time, the story has been forced to give up a lot of the fun-loving innocence that it once had. There is a lot to talk about right now. Things will never be the same again, so let's get into it. If you enjoyed the Boku no Hero content on this channel and you want us to keep it going, please leave that like and comment. It only takes a second, but it helps a lot. And if you're new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you just haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. I often get people telling me that they forgot to subscribe or they forgot to hit the bell and then they miss a ton of my videos. If you want to avoid that, the best thing you can do is to take the time to subscribe, hit the bell, and then select that option that says all. Finally, this video will of course contain Boku no Hero manga spoilers, so please proceed with caution. You have been warned. Okay, so the previous chapter featured Hawks' tragic backstory. I plan to make an entire video dedicated to Hawks, so I won't talk much about it here, but the rest of the chapter focused on the fact that Best Jeanist has a freaking Batmobile. Oh, and we also learned how Best Jeanist was able to trick Dabi into thinking he was dead. The heroes used a procedure to induce a death-like state within Jeanist, a procedure inspired by the Nomu themselves. This was obviously a massive risk, but ultimately it paid off. If the heroes hadn't launched those raids when they did, and if Shigaraki had been allowed to complete his procedure, then the situation would have been even worse than it is now, although, as we soon see, the situation is still quite bad. The other big focus of the previous chapter is very relevant to this chapter, and that is the fact that in the aftermath of the raids and the multiple prison breaks, the Hero Society is pretty much collapsing before our eyes. The cops and the heroes have their hands full with all the escaped convicts, and that has led to a lot more villain activity all over Japan as lesser villains take advantage of all the chaos and cash in. And as the chaos spreads, the people of Japan continue to lose their faith in both the heroes and the police. This point is really driven home in the latest chapter, chapter 300, as the entire Hero Society descends into outright panic. By the way, can you believe that MHA is already at 300 chapters? The time really flew by. Anyway, all the news about the escaped villains and the monstrous Nomu roaming around Japan have terrified the public. And beyond just news and rumors, the escaped villains and other villains have been rampaging throughout the country, and the heroes just haven't been able to keep up. We see one particular incident in Shinjuku as the cider house gang that escaped from Xi'an prison starts terrorizing a neighborhood. And with no police or heroes around, the civilians are forced to take up arms and fight the villains on their own. The entire neighborhood is soon in ruins, and when Washu finally does arrive, he is actually attacked and ridiculed by the people of the neighborhood for showing up so late. With all this unprecedented stress and chaos, some heroes have simply lost their nerve and they decided to hang up their hero capes for good. For example, the number 9 pro hero and a bunch of other heroes decided to suddenly retire, and this has made the entire situation even worse. As I mentioned earlier, the heroes and law enforcement are already understaffed. And now that a bunch of heroes have retired in the middle of a villain crisis, things are only going to get harder for the heroes who are still in the game. You can't necessarily blame these heroes who retired for doing what they did. We saw that one hero back in chapter 296 who just couldn't handle the pressure and the trauma of the aftermath in Deku. So he decided that he just can't be a hero any longer. Something similar probably happened to the other heroes who decided to retire. The truth is that many people simply cannot handle that extreme level of stress and pressure. Up to this point in the story, the Hero Society existed in a state of relative peace and prosperity for many years. So the actual job of being a hero was a mostly glamorous and highly sought after position. But now that the peace has collapsed and chaos has arrived, what it means to be a hero has changed completely. It is no longer enough for heroes to just be flashy celebrities who save people from accidents and natural disasters. In this new, darker era, heroes must be warriors who are willing to sacrifice their very lives in battle against ruthless, overpowered villains. Not everyone is cut out for that type of life, and I think that's something that we can all understand as human beings, but still, all of these sudden hero retirements were not well received by the wider public. The public sees this as a betrayal. These heroes were fine receiving all that money and fame that comes with being a hero when things were good, but now that things are bad and the people need heroes more than ever, these particular heroes decided to just give up and call it quits. Unsurprisingly, this turn of events has caused the people of Japan to lose even more confidence in the entire hero system, and their confidence was already pretty low to begin with. The chapter then shows none other than the hero killer Stain just walking around town and recovering his old weapons, which is on one level very creepy since Stain is a major villain and now he's just walking around free. But on the other hand, I love Stain as a character and I actually hope that this means that we'll be seeing more of him in the future. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Stain becomes more of a hero than a villain from now on. Remember that Stain always hated the Hero Society because of how fake the hero profession had become. But now that the Hero Society has pretty much collapsed and the so-called fake heroes are all retiring, Stain might actually decide that the real threat are no longer the fake heroes, but rather the villains themselves. It will be very interesting to see where Stain goes from here, but my prediction is that he'll side with the heroes at least to some extent. Although he will of course stay independent and do his own thing. Stain is still a wanted criminal after all, so it's not like he's gonna go apply for a hero license or anything along those lines. Meanwhile, a lot of the blame for what's been happening to the Hero Society is now being placed squarely on the shoulders of the #1 pro hero, Endeavor. As the #1 pro hero, Endeavor is the most visible face of the Hero Society. And so, in the eyes of the public, he is the most responsible for keeping the peace, just as All Might was before his retirement. But now that the Hero Society is falling apart and the villains are rampaging throughout Japan, and after what Dabi publicly revealed about Endeavor, the Japanese public is furious with the #1 pro hero. Clearly, Endeavor is no All Might, he is no symbol of peace, and if the #1 pro hero is this flawed and this unreliable, then what can we expect from the rest of the heroes? As the #1 hero, Endeavor was the public face of the Hero Society, and now he is also the public face of the people's outrage with that same society. What's more, Endeavor himself is in really bad shape, both physically and emotionally. His physical health appears to be stable, he's obviously injured but he's recovering, but mentally and emotionally, he is a completely broken man. Back when he had faced off against Dabi, he completely froze up. He simply could not fight his own son, and he is now racked with guilt about everything he had done to Dabi and to the rest of his family in the past. Just like the Hero Society as a whole, the Endeavor we knew is dead. This man is now a shadow of his former self, and we see him actually crying as his family comes to visit him in the hospital. As he cries, Endeavor apologizes to his family again and again, but he knows that it's too late now. He cannot take back the horrible things that he has done, and Dabi is living proof of that. Dabi, Endeavor's own son, has become a mass murdering villain. And just like Dabi's horrible actions can never be taken back, so too Endeavor's treatment of his family can't be taken back. The damage is done, and the consequences have been catastrophic, especially when we look at what Dabi has become. But then, to Endeavor's great surprise, Rei enters his hospital room behind the children. As Endeavor asks why she is here, Rei answers that she is here to talk about their family and about Toya, and that is how this chapter ends. Wow, what a crazy time to be an MHA fan, and this really is a different kind of story than it was when the series first started. Now that Rei has entered the chat, I hope that we will learn more about Toya and how exactly he became Dabi. We still don't know the specifics. We don't know how he ended up in that fire and what happened to him after the fire when everyone thought he was dead. I really want to know those details. I want to get the complete picture of Dabi's backstory, so hopefully Rei will reveal those details to us in the coming chapters. All in all, the message of these last few chapters has been very clear. The Hero Society as we know it is dead, the My Hero Academia that we knew up to this point has come to an end, and the era of peace is over as a new, much darker era of chaos arrives. This massive change in the world of Boku no Hero is going to have a profound impact on everyone, and this includes all of our favorite characters. Deku will not be the same Deku after this, Ochako will not be the same Ochako, Kirishima will not be the same Kirishima, and so on. These characters will need to mature and change very quickly, and this really feels different. I have a hard time imagining the story going back to some sort of lighthearted school festival arc or tournament arc after this. I definitely don't see it happening until this chaotic situation is brought under control. But by the looks of it, that won't be happening anytime soon. Definitely let me know what you guys think. Did you enjoy this chapter, and do you think that the Hero Society can ever recover from all of this chaos? Also, what do you think that Stain will do now? Will he continue hunting heroes as he was doing before, or will he perhaps start hunting the villains instead? Finally, how do you think that Deku, Bakugo, and the other heroes are going to change in the aftermath of all of this chaos? Do you think that they can ever go back to being those fun-loving hero students that they were before this insane war arc? Don't forget to share your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this Boku no Hero video and you want to see more, please leave a like to let me know. It really does help. And if you are new to AnimeUproar, or maybe you just haven't subscribed yet, make this the video that you subscribe and hit that notification bell to turn on all notifications. You really have to go through the trouble of hitting that bell and then selecting the option that says all. If you don't do that, you're still gonna miss a ton of our videos. Even if you are subscribed, it's just how YouTube works. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. A big thank you to all of our AnimeUproar patrons for making videos like this one possible. Special thank you to Alpha Sigma, disciple of Lord Twigo himself. And I can't forget all of our The One tier patrons, the ones who rise above all other clans, including Ingrata, The World, A Quiet Respect, Pate Heffa, Liam Thompson, Aljatal, Dr. Courtman, Johnny Boy Draws, Emperor Otaku, Spidey Life Tanel, Baked Buddhist, and Tungsten Tarkus. Finally, thank you to all of our Pro Hero tier patrons, including the one and only Gilgamesh, Steelers, Angel Cruz, Anatoly Kazatsky, Joe Stanton, Very Gucci, Jessica K. Lafond, Rathuin Deora, Alicia Octor, Bonnie Parks, Hinokami and Water, The Red-Haired Raven, Joanne Garcia, Jack Watches Anime, Fatboy Games, Deadly Saint, Matthew Cruz, and Anthony Schreiber. If you enjoy our videos and you feel that they provide value to you, consider supporting us on Patreon. Even a single dollar will give you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, and your name will appear in our videos along with these legendary people. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys!